Red is a Pokemon trainer with one goal in mind: to catch every Pokemon ever. Something that has never been done before, not until now. This is the story on how a 10-year-old boy from Pallet Town became one of the greatest trainers of all time. And maybe Red is too much of a goat because around a year ago I made a similar video, but that got clapped by YouTube. Rest in peace. So hopefully we're all good here. This story starts off like any typical Pokemon adventure. Red getting out of bed and his mom telling him that Professor Oak is ready to give him his starter Pokemon. And just like that, Red is off to never see his mom again and to get his starter Pokemon. Before Red makes it into the lab, he encounters his rival, Blue, and he informs Red that he is also getting a starter Pokemon today and they'll be starting their adventure at the exact same time. When they meet up with Professor Oak, he hands them a Pokédex, and this is supposed to be an encyclopedia to record all the data of the Pokemon around the world. And Professor Oak says his goal is to fully complete this encyclopedia, which is why he wants to send Red and Blue off on a journey to help him gather all the data of all the Pokemon in the world. And when Professor Oak says world, he's talking about only the Kanto region, because I'm sure his brain would explode if he knew there were more than 151 Pokemon. Now, with all that being said, it was now time for the boys to pick their starter Pokemon, and their choices were between Charmander the Fire Lizard, Squirtle the Water Turtle, and Bulbasaur the Grass Frog. Oak offers Blue to pick his starter first, but Blue says he'll be humble and let Red pick first, so Blue's a pretty nice guy. Red says that he's actually already made his decision and that he's gonna go with Charmander because his dad named him Red because he hoped that Red would have the passion and the energy of a red hot fire. And by the way, this is one of the only times that Red mentions his father, and we never hear or see about him again. Professor Oak goes ahead and tells Blue he can pick his starter now, and he asks Blue if he was going to pick Squirtle because his name was Blue. But Blue says that he would never pick his starter off of such a stupid thing, and the only reason why he wanted to pick second is to get the type advantage against Red, so he's going with Squirtle. Red gets pretty mad at this and tells Blue he wants to have a battle to prove that his starter Pokemon was stronger, but Blue says he does not want to battle Red at all because he's gonna taint the memories of his first Pokemon battling such a weak trainer. And damn, I forgot that back then your rivals were not your friends in Pokemon. And with all that being done, Red and Blue are off on their journey. But before we can continue, have you ever wanted to get exclusive Pokemon cards, plushies, or anime collectibles straight from Japan? Well, now you can thanks to today's sponsor, Zen Market. Zen Market makes it super easy to shop abroad from the comfort of your home and find a bunch of exclusive products. You don't need to know a word of Japanese since Zen Market handles all of the buying, packaging, and shipping and brings the item right to your door. You can buy from over 10,000 stores, including shops like Rakuten or Amazon Japan, to find almost any product you would want. As some of you guys know, my mascot looks kind of similar to Yamper, so of course I had to look for all the Yamper merch they have, and I found Pokemon cards and some really nice Yamper plushies that I had to buy since they were really affordable. Plus, they've got no consolidation fees, free 60-day storage, and supports up to 19 languages, so the whole process was really simple. If you want to grab some rare Pokemon or anime merch for yourself, click the link in the description or the pinned comment and you will get 1,000 yen off of your international order, which is a pretty good deal because in the past I would just travel to Japan to pick up my stuff, but now I got Zen Market. And Red encountered his first Pokemon in the wild, a Pidgey, and Red and Charmander completely fumbled this. They were not in sync and the Pidgey managed to escape from the Pokeball and run away. Red didn't give up though. He locked in with Charmander and kept trying, and they eventually ran into a Rattata and captured it. Red was so excited that he was able to catch Rattata, he went on a rampage, catching every single Pokemon that he possibly could in the starter area, and he encountered his first trainer battle. It was a youngster with a Nidoran, and Red completely destroyed it. And Red was so tunnel visioned on catching Pokemon, he tried to capture the trainer's Pokemon. And besides the fact that it's completely illegal in their universe, it doesn't end up working. The trainer tells Red not to do that again or he'll be labeled as a thief, and he guides Red to the proper direction to go to the city. On the way there, Red ends up encountering Blue again, and Blue and Red want to have a Pokemon battle. Blue says his main goal is to make the strongest Pokemon team ever, but Red says he's not really that interested in that, and he really just wants to complete the entire Pokédex. The battle goes underway, and it's not looking pretty good for Red and Charmander. Any attack Charmander throws out, Blue and Squirtle seem to be dodging it just fine. Red starts stressing out since Squirtle's getting closer, and Squirtle hits Charmander with a tackle. No matter what was happening, all of Charmander's attacks were completely useless. He was not able to get a single hit on Squirtle, and Squirtle just kept dominating him. Squirtle wanted to finish the battle off, so he went ahead and used the move Bite on Charmander, and let me tell you, I did not imagine Pokemon fights looking this brutal. Red had no choice but to return Charmander, and Red realized that he was completely outclassed by his rival. After this battle, Blue ends up telling Red that he seriously needs to go back to Pallet Town and that he is not cut out to be a Pokemon trainer. These words hit hard for Red, and he honestly felt like giving up. Red went out to reflect, figuring out what he needs to do better to be a good Pokemon trainer, but Red heard a voice calling out to him, giving him some advice. The man lets Red know that he was watching his battle the entire time, and it was obvious that he was outclassed and that he's not in sync with his Charmander, treating him more like a tool and not like a partner. The man also lets Red know that a Pokemon would only be weak because of its trainer, not because of the Pokemon. Red ends up realizing for him to complete the Pokédex, he has to become one of the strongest trainers ever, so he has a new goal in mind to be the strongest and to complete the Pokédex. The man tells Red he should go to the neighboring town and fight the gym leader so he can get stronger and compete in the Elite Four. Red ends up making it to Pewter City to challenge the gym leader, where he hears a bunch of citizens just glazing the gym leader known as Brock, saying that he's super hard to beat. Red ends up going to the gym, where he finds out that the man that was giving him advice was actually the gym leader known as Brock. Brock lets Red know that since he's a new trainer that he can go easy on him and only will use 2 Pokemon in this gym battle. And Red's first gym leader began with Geodude versus Charmander. The battle wasn't looking good since Red had the type disadvantage. A fire type is not good against a rock type. Brock told Red this out loud, so Red decided to switch out Charmander into Nidoran, since Nidoran knows Double Kick, a fighting type move which is super effective. Brock is glad that Red has improved since the last time he saw him, and he ends up sending the ace of his team, Onyx. Nidoran gets a few double kicks in, but Onyx ends up making quick work of that Pokemon, completely one-shotting it. Onyx decided to go on a rampage, completely taking out the majority of Red's Pokemon. Red was getting pretty desperate, so he sent out his Metapod to use String Shot to try to slow down the Onyx. Metapod was also off for the count, and we were down to the last Pokemon of Red's, Charmander versus Onyx. Red tells Brock that he understands what he means by being in sync with his Pokemon and wanting to battle with them, so they end up going for their finishing moves. Red ends up winning, being slightly faster because of this single string that Metapod left on Onyx, making him be a millisecond too slow to take out Charmander, and with that, Red won his first gym battle. Brock was proud to see how far Red has come and even gifted him the TM Bide. I still don't really know how trainers would use TM since it's just a disc, but I digress. And with Red having his first badge, he was off to dominate the Pokemon world, which he definitely did. He ran through Mount Moon, he ended up buying a Magikarp from a trainer, he defeated Team Rocket, and got the Cerulean City Gym badge. Through all this training, Charmander evolved into Charmeleon, and they were able to take down Lieutenant Surge at the 3rd gym, so the journey's been going pretty well. And after doing all this takes Red to Lavender Town, a very strange city. This town is known as the grave site for Pokemon, and there's a Pokemon tower where people put their dead Pokemon to rest here. Some citizens let Red know that they think a ghost is haunting the tower, and Red says he doesn't actually believe ghosts exist, but he's willing to check it out. Before Red ends up entering the Pokemon tower, he encounters a girl which has a group of abandoned Pokemon, and they end up meeting a Cubone, and here Red learns the really dark truth. Cubone doesn't trust humans at all. He hates them, and he only likes Mr. Fuji, which is the owner of this home. When Cubone was really young and was out in the wild, he was getting chased by Team Rocket. When Team Rocket ended up cornering him, Marowak, his mother, ended up protecting Cubone and made room for there to be enough time for Cubone to escape. But unfortunately, even though Cubone was able to escape, Team Rocket ended up killing his mother. Mr. Fuji ended up finding Cubone out in the wild alone and took him in for adoption. And ever since that day, Cubone only talked to Mr. Fuji and nobody else. That's why he hates humans. When Red realizes all this, he gets extremely angry and says that he can't believe Team Rocket will do this and he wants to put an end to them. Red says he also wants to meet Mr. Fuji, but as they're discussing this, someone bursts in, saying Mr. Fuji has been missing for over a day and he was last seen going into the Pokemon Tower. And the reason why they think he is inside the Pokemon Tower is to stop Team Rocket, since they've infiltrated the Pokemon Tower to use it for whatever evil plans they have in mind. This has gotten so bad since people use this tower as a cemetery, and Team Rocket will not allow even citizens to come see their dead Pokemon since they say it's their base of operations now. Red hears all the citizens cry for help. He hears that there's a ghost on the loose inside the tower, that Team Rocket won't let citizens to visit their dead Pokemon, and that Mr. Fuji is missing, so Red says he'll go inside the tower and solve this once and for all. In the distance, Blue was stalking this whole altercation and says that he's gonna go inside the Pokemon Tower and take care of Team Rocket first so he gets all the fame and recognition and is seen as a strong trainer, not Red. When Blue is inside of the tower, he's roaming around and he notices that everything's pretty normal and he's not scared of ghosts and he doesn't see Team Rocket until he makes it up a floor and he actually sees the ghost. Blue gets so scared he starts running away, and while he's running he ends up crashing into Red, letting him know to run because the ghost is chasing after them, and the ghost was right behind them. Red says he's not going to be a coward and wants to put an end to this, and Blue gains some confidence back, so Red starts trying to fight the ghost while Blue runs up the tower to go fight Team Rocket. In the distance, the Cubone starts feeling a weird presence, so he starts breaking out of his cage and running towards the Pokemon Tower. The ghost that is fighting Red keeps screaming for them to get out of the tower and to leave. Charmeleon was trying to use a bunch of attacks on the ghost, but nothing was working. But then in the distance, Blue ends up throwing a device at Red to put it on to see the ghost that he stole from Team Rocket after Blue just defeated them. Red puts on the goggles and he realizes that it's actually a Marowak. Just then, Cubone comes running into the tower, and he also felt the presence of the Marowak. Cubone was so happy that it was able to get a glimpse of its mother that it ended up hugging the ghost. Red realized that the battle is over and he does not need to fight the ghost anymore, and the Cubone just needs to make up with its mother so the mother can rest at ease. And now with the Marowak being able to see its child, it is able to rest peacefully and ascend away and no longer needing to haunt the tower. Red is happy that he was able to resolve that issue, but now he is super pissed off at Team Rocket since they ended up tarnishing such a sacred area. So Red sends out his Jolteon and Cubone ends up teaming up to defeat Team Rocket and bringing peace to the Pokemon Tower. They end up finding Mr. Fuji at the top floor of the Pokemon Tower and they end up freeing him, and now everything is back to normal in Lavender Town and the tower is now back to being used as a cemetery. Mr. Fuji ends up thanking Red by giving him a Pokeflute and also giving him 2 mysterious gems. When Red asks what exactly do these gems do, Mr. Fuji says he'll find out eventually. And with that, Red is off to go continue getting more gym badges, and Blue ends up talking to Red and actually respecting Red a lot more for defeating Team Rocket and actually views him as his rival now. Red went ahead and gathered a lot more gym badges, used the Pokeflute to wake up Snorlax, and he even ended up encountering Giovanni for a brief moment in a Team Rocket hideout. There, Red learned that their main base of operations is in Saffron City, so when Red was going towards Saffron City, Charmeleon ended up evolving into Charizard, and Red seemed like he was ready to take on Team Rocket once and for all. In the city, things weren't looking good. Red and Blue ended up saving a girl from Team Rocket, and in the woods, she let them know that Team Rocket's plan is to actually create or get the Master Ball. Though they can capture any Pokemon they want without ease, the Master Ball has a 100% catch rate. She also lets Red know that all the scientists are trapped in Silphco and they haven't been able to leave and they've only been working on this project. Red says he'll do everything in his power to help all the captured Pokemon and the scientists, but Blue on the other hand says that he doesn't even want to get involved. He wants to continue trying to get to the Pokemon League. Red gets super pissed off at Blue for this, saying that he's a coward and he should try to save these Pokemon. In the end, Blue decides to just take the girl to the police station and continue on with his journey, and Red decides to storm the Silphco building. Red ends up freeing all the Pokemon and freeing up all the scientists, and one of the scientists gifts Red the Pokemon Lapras. Red makes it to the top of the building and he finds Giovanni, making the leader of Silphco sign away his life. Red tells Giovanni that he'll destroy him here once and for all, and Giovanni just laughs. He knows that Red isn't strong enough to beat him, and they end up having a Pokemon battle inside of the building. Nidoqueen and Charizard were going head to head, but it wasn't looking good for Red since Giovanni was just so much stronger. Charizard was using Flamethrower and Nidoqueen went in to use Surf, and it caused a massive explosion destroying the building. And just like that, the battle was over, and in one of the coolest Pokemon scenes to date, Giovanni leaves Red in the rubble, hopping into his helicopter, saying Red is just completely weak and cannot stop Giovanni at all. Red tells Giovanni that he hates how he doesn't treat his Pokemon like friends, but Giovanni brings up a point, saying that if Pokemon are really your friends, why do you bring them to battle? Why do you make them fight their own battles and get injured every single time? That's not something you'd let your friends do. Giovanni argues that Red is also using Pokemon as his tools too, but he's just sugarcoats it by saying it's their friends. With that, Red does some reflecting. He went on his journey and still collected some more gym badges, went to the dojo, figured out that the world has discovered a new Pokemon known as Mewtwo, And now Red has 7 out of the 8 gym badges, so he heads to Viridian City so he can fight the gym leader. In front of the gym, Red meets Blue, and Blue lets him know that he defeated the gym leader and now he's gonna go challenge the Elite Four. When Red goes inside the gym, he realizes the truth. The gym leader of the 8th gym is none other than Giovanni. Red couldn't believe that such a sinister person was the final and strongest gym leader. Red said up until now, even though every gym leader has been different, they all had one thing in common, that they all loved their Pokemon, but Giovanni sees them only as tools. So, both of them decide to put everything on the line, a final battle to prove whose ideals are better, treating Pokemon as your friends or using them as tools. The battle begins with Giovanni sending out his Rhyhorn, and Red decides to send out his Weeping Bell so he has the type advantage. But it was no use. Rhyhorn completely one-shotted the Weeping Bell, leaving Red down to 5 Pokemon. Red sends out his Kabutops, and he manages to get a good hit in, but the same thing happens again. He gets one-shot by Rhyhorn. Red brings out Snorlax to try to use Hyper Beam, but Rhyhorn dodges it and one-shots Snorlax. Red is down to his last few Pokemon, and it's not looking good. Red's brain must have completely malfunctioned during this fight because he sent out Jolteon against a Rhyhorn, an electric type which is ineffective against a ground type. Giovanni calls out Red for this, saying that he must have just given up at this point and just throwing out any Pokemon he can. And the cycle repeated itself. Jolteon also got one-shotted by Rhyhorn, and Red was down to 2 Pokemon. Red sends out Hitmonlee, and Giovanni starts getting a little excited, thinking that Red may actually be able to take down his Pokemon. And both of their Pokemon go in for their signature moves, and they double KO each other. Giovanni decides that he's only going to use 2 Pokemon, so he was going to send out his last one. And Red sent out Charizard as his final Pokemon, and Giovanni started getting fired up. He said he hasn't felt this feeling in a long time, being excited for a Pokemon battle. Rhydon and Charizard go head to head, both simultaneously using Mega Punch, and they both also simultaneously use Mega Kick, trying to knock each other out. Rhydon dodged one of Charizard's kicks and used Close Combat on Charizard, and it was looking like the battle was done. Charizard was down on his last bit of HP. Rhydon went in to use his signature attack, Horn Drill, to take out Charizard, and Red commanded Charizard to use Seismic Toss. Charizard dodged at the last second, picked up Rhydon, and used Seismic Toss, completely knocking out Rhydon, making Red the winner of this battle. Giovanni congratulates Red for being able to defeat 2 of his Pokemon and wants to give him a gym badge, but Red refuses. He says he does not want a gym badge from the leader of Team Rocket. And then for some reason, Giovanni says he's going to completely disband Team Rocket and let everybody know that Team Rocket is done in the Kanto region. I guess Giovanni had a major change of heart in this battle because he told Red that he wants to give him the gym badge as the 8th gym leader, not the leader of Team Rocket. And with that, Red accepted the gym badge and was off to challenge the Elite Four. When Red got there, he actually managed to beat all of them with ease, and they said they haven't seen such a powerful trainer like this in a while. When Red defeated the final person in the Elite Four, he told them that he has one more challenge waiting for him ahead. He said Red had to fight the current Pokemon League champion, and when Red made it to the other room, the champion was his rival, Blue. Blue told Red that he knew he'd become the champion, and that he's the most powerful Pokemon trainer in the entire world, and he was not going to lose his champion title to the likes of Red. So with that, the battle began. Red and Blue went neck and neck, having one of the most intense battles of their entire life, and all their Pokemons kept trading with one another. And it came down to their final Pokemon, Charizard versus Blastoise. Red and Blue both know that this is going to be the pinnacle of their Pokemon battle, so they went in with all their might. Charizard went and hit Blastoise straight in the face, but he tanked it, and Blastoise shot a few water guns at Charizard, and he ended up dodging a few, but tanking one of them straight to the face, leaving him in critical condition. Charizard, in a desperate attempt, uses Fire Spin to block Blastoise's vision, and he hits him with his signature attack, Fire Blast. This attack was coming at Blastoise so intensely that even Blue was worried, and it hit Blastoise. And when the smoke cleared, the battle was over. Blastoise had lost and Charizard had won. Blue, when he lost this, was very disappointed. He said he couldn't believe that he lost to the likes of Red and that he was only a champion for like 5 minutes, so does it even count? Professor Oak comes out to congratulate the both of them for going that far, but Professor Oak also scolds Blue, saying that he didn't treat his Pokemon with love and respect, and that's the reason why Red won. Professor Oak took Red to the Pokemon Hall of Fame to record his team as the Pokemon champion, and once Red did that, he felt like his journey was almost completed, but there were still a few more Pokemon he had to catch, so he went out into the wild and caught Pikachu, Blissey, and a few other Pokemon. Red even managed to catch legendary Pokemon like Articuno, Moltres, and Zapdos. Red thought that he actually completed the entire Pokedex, catching 149 Pokemon. When he went to go tell Professor Oak, he actually wasn't in his lab, but he was at Blue's house. Blue was injured. He got destroyed by a legendary Pokemon in the cave. When Oak and Red asked Blue to describe this Pokemon, it didn't match any of the descriptions of the Pokemon in the Pokédex, so they knew that there were 150 Pokemon, and there was one Pokemon out there that Red didn't manage to catch, so Red was determined to go find him. Before Red went off, he was thinking. He remembers hearing something about a super strong Pokemon in a book that he read at the Pokemon Mansion. And when he reread that book, he remembered. It was a diary from a scientist, and the scientist said that they found a new Pokemon called Mew. So they took Mew's data and made a brand new Pokemon called Mewtwo. But that Pokemon had so much rage inside of him, and he had so much potential that he destroyed the lab, killing everybody. So now Red knows that there are two final Pokemon left, Mew and Mewtwo. With this new information, Red was off. He was off to capture the new mysterious Pokemon. He used Lapras to surf across the river, and there it was, one of the most powerful Pokemon ever, Mewtwo. Red sent out Gengar, and he couldn't stand any chance. Red also sent out Articuno, another legendary Pokemon, and it got a good hit in, but Mewtwo completely decimated it. Red was down to its last Pokemon, Charizard. Charizard flew in the sky and used Fire Blast at Mewtwo. Mewtwo protected against the attack and used Swift, sending Charizard flying, and Red caught Charizard. Red told Charizard he believed in him and told him to use Slash, and Charizard went in on Mewtwo, but it still wasn't working. Then Mewtwo released a devastating attack. Mewtwo used Psychic and sent Charizard and Red flying into the water to drown. When all hope seemed lost and Red was about to drown, the stones in his pocket that he got from Mr. Fuji started glowing, and they combined together to create Mega Evolution, Mega Charizard X. Up until this point, Mega Evolution has not been seen at all in the Kanto region, so Red was the first one to unlock such a powerful form of Charizard. Charizard went in and started using his blue fire against Mewtwo, and it was doing some damage. Red tried to catch Mewtwo, but he completely bursted out of the Pokeball because he wasn't done yet. Charizard used Swift, making Mewtwo run for his life. Then Red followed it up by using Slash, and we see some of the greatest hand-to-hand combat we've seen in the Pokemon franchise. While this is all going on, Red remembers how far his Charizard has come, going from such a little Charmander to such a powerful Mega Charizard X, and he truly believes that they're going to win this battle. So Red puts it all into one final attack. He tells Charizard to use Mega Punch, and he uses it and takes Mewtwo out for the count, being able to throw the Ultra Ball at him, and finally being able to capture the legendary Pokemon Mewtwo. With that being done, Red and Charizard had caught 150 Pokemon, feeling like they completed the Pokedex. When Red went ahead to tell Oak that he completed the Pokedex, Red remembered something. If Mewtwo came from a Pokemon called Mew, and they'd never seen a Pokemon Mew, that means there's one more Pokemon out there. So Red made it his goal to go find the final Pokemon Mew, and that's where Red's story ends in the Kanto region. We don't know if Red ever did manage to catch Mew, but what we do know is that Red is the champion of the Kanto region, and the next time we see him is waiting on top of a mountain to challenge the champion of the Johto region. But if you want to know what happened to Gold and how he took down his own version of Team Rocket and fought Red, you gotta subscribe or click one of the two videos up here.